Hey everyone, it's Jason with PromoDrone. I have another fantastic Innovator interview for you. I am interviewing the brains behind PromoDrone. You're not going to want to miss this. We've got, there it is. a little wiggity, wiggity, wiggity. We could like make it go all crazy. Here we go. We're not going to do that. We have Jamar Williams and Joree Weatherly. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
I'll insert some applause right there. Great.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this one. Here's what I want to do. I want to chat about who you guys are, and then I want to chat about why you're doing what you're doing, and then I want to talk about the implications it has on this overall industry. That's why I'm excited. So I'm going to pass it over to you guys. Tell me more about PromoDrone.
Awesome. I'll kick it off. My name is Jamar, founder and CEO of PromoDrone, actually. And PromoDrone started as kind of an extension of my personality initially, and I didn't quite realize it at the time. I love to build things. I love to tell people about it and kind of, put the message out there that there's something cool to be found here. And when I say creator, I write songs and music and do all that kind of stuff in studio. So my brain's always looking for ways to take something that doesn't exist and form something new. A song's just like an easy manifestation of that, right? You're feeling a way, you're thinking something, you manifest it through lyrics or something, right? So I moved to San Diego from Baltimore in 2010. So it's been about 11 years now since I've been here. And when I moved here, part of my new experience was to look for outlets for my creativity. How can I put music out there, get into the video world, and got into drones just as a byproduct of trying to pursue music, actually. So an extension of that creativity and music was drones, music production. You have, videos, all of a sudden there's a drone. This was probably 2012 maybe at the time. No, so I didn't know what a drone was even at that time. And one of my business partners in my other company said to me one day, "Hey man, do you want to help me build a drone?" And I was like, "What?" And so he went to the internet, typed in drone, showed me a bunch of parts that were laid out on what appeared to be some sort of table. And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to build this thing." So this is before I knew what a DJI was, a Mavic or Matrice, any of those things. This was an F550, I believe, was the kit at the time. So old business partner and his roommate, they put this drone together. They say, "Hey, come help us out." So I'm more over the shoulder learning versus actually more hands-on, but I am helping with a little bit of soldering here and there, but learning how to calibrate the rotors, what goes into actually making a drone fly. And when we would start to fly the drone, we noticed people would just always be pointing at it, acknowledging it, good, bad, or indifferent. This was the days of, don't spy on my wife in the shower. I'll get my shotgun kind of days. I don't know if we're quite out of that yet, but
we're not out of those days yet.
We're not quite out of those days yet. So anyway, I realized that we had something in terms of at least visibility. If people see it and they responded to it, I know in marketing world, that means that there could be something of value there, right? So my creative self, wanting to put messages out there in various ways, here's a new way for me to kind of take a message, a drone, put it on a drone and push it out to the world, similar to a song or something like that, right? So it's a voice that you can project and carry to another location, so to speak. So we set about experimenting with, the first drone was a DJI F550, and we actually crashed our first drone trying to put a banner on it, and it was a very sophisticated laminated banner with some clothespins and yarn at the time. So that was aerodynamics 101 kind of stuff. Yeah. So needless to say, that wasn't quite the route that we should have gone with that design, but we actually did attempt to fly at an event here in San Diego. We upgraded to an Inspire one. That was as soon as they came out, and we used the same kind of setup. Drone goes in the air, banner starts flying all over the place, flies off, lands on the roof of the Hard Rock downtown. It's probably still there as a keepsake. We'll go back in 10 years and get it and put it in a plaque. But yeah, so that was kind of the beginnings, and then R&D iterations. And during 2020, our PromoDrone's big thing is using banners for outdoor promotions. Long story short, to get to this point, we're flying drones with advertisements, messages. We're bringing more delight and surprise to brands and festival goers as a way to connect and tell stories in a new way. And Joree, who's here, I'll let Joree kind of take it from here, came on board with PromoDrone about 2019 as our first actual Part 107 pilot. And then it's just been doing so much more since then. So we kind of started as this concept, tried it out in a couple different ways, didn't work. Put some time into R&D, got some better drones, and over time, the concept started to make sense. We started to figure out how to do it safely, how to fly drones with advertisements in a way that could be consistent, repeatable, and even something that other drone pilots could do. And Joree came on as our first pilot. He really paved the way for a lot of the operational, deployment, standpoint of the drone. So Joree, you can kind of go from here. It's been great having you on board.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I started off, as Jamar mentioned, as our first pilot, and the way I actually got connected to the company was pretty cool. So I come from really big into photography and videography, and I was really getting heavily into kind of the outdoor adventure scene. So lots of rock climbing and mountaineering, that sort of thing, and really wanted to document that in a more meaningful way. And so I've got my first drones, the Mavic 2 Zoom. Great little drone, perfect for that type of production. And started thinking, well, how can I actually start making money with this? How can I kind of push this a little bit further than just video production? And so that turned me on to the Part 107 license. And so quite literally the day that I got it, I met someone later on that afternoon. We kind of got to chatting, and he said, "Oh, so what's new with you?" And I said, "Well, I just got my Part 107." And he's like, "Oh, so you're a drone guy?" And I said, "You know what a Part 107 is?" Which to me, obviously, this was a very new concept, and I was just kind of taken aback. And so turns out one thing led to another. That was the chief marketing officer at the time of PromoDrone. And so he introduced me to Jamar, brought me on, and kind of continued to grow from there. And so fast forward to mid-COVID 2020, he decided to step down to pursue another opportunity, and I kind of saw that this was an opportunity for me to fill in a lot of the role that he was taking on at the time. I had also founded my own company and was very into, again, the video and media production. And so from a creative standpoint, I was already mentally in that space and really ready to kind of take on something like that. And so since then, I've kind of led the charge with developing our marketing and internship program, as well as helping run a lot of, the rest of our intern teams, and have led the charge for, coming up with our creative direction, our entire strategy, content strategy, the whole nine, diving into the deep world of SEO and analytics and all of that.
The black box.
Exactly, the black box, if you will, of that world of digital marketing. So it's just been a really awesome journey, continuing to grow with PromoDrone and really help bring this idea and this concept out to the masses.
That is impressive. There's a lot to unpack there, but I am, needless to say, I'm a fan. Like, I like what you guys are absolutely doing from a lot of different standpoints. One thing that was very interesting about Commercial UAV Expo that I found is the emphasis on making drones disappear. And in some of the conversations that I had, it's like, when we've normalized the drone industry, the tool itself seems to disappear. Your tack is the opposite, and I love it. We want it to be loud, proud, big, not obnoxious. We want it to be there. We want it to be large and in charge. So we're not talking like little baby drones. We're not talking about even thousands of little drones. We want a multi-sensory experience that people are going to look anyway. So you want to take advantage of that. Like right now, it's just, this is blowing my mind, because I love the fact that it is taking that dichotomy, that gap that's there between a public that doesn't really know what to think about them. They don't really know how to engage with them. They don't really know how to normalize drones, even though they need to. And then you have PromoDrone. PromoDrone, as I see it, you've stuck yourselves right in that gap of public engagement for marketing, for it's just, I'm like, wow, yeah, that is how you get people to normalize what you're doing. Yeah. You're not just like, I mean, because I've been out in the field and you get people with guns, you get people that are mad, you get people that, but it's really funny because within a few minutes, if you do it right, if you're a skilled person that actually knows what you're talking about, and you didn't, pee your pants and run away because they could be armed, a short conversation and they can change their tune. Not all the time, but they change their tune. You know what? That's a one-on-one interaction that does not scale. This is a one-to-many operation that scales wildly. And I think it's fantastic. So talk to me more about how that particular gap, how you view that gap in this industry and where you think PromoDrone fits.
Yeah, you hit some really excellent points. That's exactly what we're trying to do, right? Fill that gap, bridge the connection between tool and touch, so to speak, right? Because you've got touch they're the people that are going to experience this thing in first hand, right? They're the ones that are going to, whether it's over their house for a real estate project, it's in their neighborhood doing some kind of survey, or it's at an event where you're being marketed advertisements. They're the touch points. They're the ones who, at the end of the day, we want to make sure they're comfortable, right? These are everyday people, our neighbors, the people in society around us, and we want to build things that are not only useful but also not invasive, not obnoxious. And part of the perception of drones initially was they're flying robots that have some shadowy or unknown, purpose, right? And they may have,
they could kill people.
Yeah, right. And there are some bad drone people, right? Like not every drone operator is like, on the up and up, right? So what we've done is, I compare it to the ice cream truck when I was a kid, right? When I was a kid, you could hear the ice cream truck coming from 5 miles away. It was like 3 counties over. You knew what time, right? Or you knew what time of day it would be around. So what do? You prepare for it because it's an expected delight that's coming, right? Even if you only have 50 cents, that ice cream or whatever, and you have to get it in that 5-minute stop before he hits the gas and he's over to the next neighborhood, right? So what we've done is our drone is like the ice cream truck. We have opportunities inside of this, right, for delight. So you've got QR codes that you can scan that may take you to a portal to win a prize pack of tickets for your family. That may give you an experience that you can only get through the drone. And the technology, because it's so eye-catching, it's got this sensory sight and sound experience. The kids love it. They see it. So it stimulates this interest in technology, science, innovation from kids. And when kids are excited about it, it gets families excited about it. Gets parents excited about it. Their kids can be excited about it. So when it's done in a safe way, you can combine that tool aspect, marketing, getting something out there that's doing a job with that touch at the same time. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish with what we're doing, taking that clandestine element out of operations and making it more future facing. Because if we're all looking at the future as drone positive, right, whether it's delivering mail, food, what information, advertisements, people have to get comfortable with the concept of seeing these things often and in spaces where they feel like it can be done safely. So that's really where our objective is, to create that safe space to those two worlds can meet at the same time.
I want to dive into this a little bit. And then Joree, I want your thoughts on this as well. You mentioned safe probably no less than 10 times in that last segment, which is incredible. I want to understand your sort of, how do you manage safety at these events?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a number of different ways. Obviously, from pre-flight, we're out, doing all of the proper checks beforehand, monitoring airspace, getting the proper requests in, obviously. But so when we approach these larger scale events, the way that we've kind of gone about doing this in a way that is extremely safe is we identify areas prior to our flight that are going to be either no or low traffic areas. And at venues, these areas typically already exist, right? So for example, let's take a golf course. You have tons of shrubbery and green spaces where there's trees and I know it's you laugh, but it's true, right? So you have these spaces where no one's going to be walking. You have water traps. You have all of these natural kind of spots where you can pop the drone up and go ahead and fly, where you're guaranteed to have no foot traffic underneath it. Now, secondly, our operational height is only 25 to 30 feet off the ground. So relatively speaking, you're not going to get into a situation where anyone's in a 45 diagonal underneath that, because it's so low and it's easy enough to keep in these no traffic areas. Now, let's say we're at a venue and for some reason that type of space doesn't already exist. What we do in that sort of situation is we create a drone zone where we section off an area where we're going to be flying that's adjacent to a high traffic area, but not directly going over it. So in this way, we've been able to find at every venue that we've been able to fly at so far, some way to, lift this operation in a way that's going to remain completely compliant and mitigate any kind of risk that might come up in the meantime.
And we're fully insured, so every flight's got
that makes a lot of sense.
An insurance factor as well.
Right.
The necessaries.
Of course. And like I said, that's interesting because this is a crossover. So I view this as a crossover between the basic drone operations, and in my mind, these are even still more like sort of the industrial or light industrial applications where you have to apply all of your smart planning. This is a professional commercial operation, because I do see, like I said, I was extremely happy to hear this, because I'll be the first to admit, I've listened to a lot of Part 107 pilots and they don't know anything about a pre-flight, even though it's required. They don't know anything about a safety management system. They know very little about SOPs. They just go fly. And you're like, well, the drone's just going to go fly. And if it can't fly, then I'm not supposed to fly there. I'm like, okay, well, it's a very simplistic way to look at that. But there's a lot of planning that goes into this. And I enjoy the fact that you have that planning mindset that's focused on safety, right? And it's safety on scalable operations. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask about is, you mentioned at the beginning, Jamar, you mentioned internship. Tell me more about your internship program.
Yeah, Joree, I'll actually let you take this one because this is your specialty here. Even though we manage a lot of this together, I'll kind of let you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really cool. The way that we run our internship is actually through an application called Handshake. Highly recommend to anyone who's in the startup world of things, looking to find some really hungry college students that are looking to gain that real world experience. And so what we do is we partner with other universities, and they help feed the steady flow of, essentially intern applicants. The way that we've kind of structured that is that we then bring them on. So for our marketing team, for instance, we break it down by, much like you would in a normal marketing organization. So we have our copywriters, we have our graphic design interns, we have our community managers, and from there, just delegate out which tasks fit into what the business needs are. And it's really cool because we're teaching these students a framework on how businesses operate. It's really, good look behind the curtain, especially for how startups operate and kind of some of the initial strategies you have to employ, because that definitely is different than, a large like Fortune 500 company. Like the day to day is going to look a lot different, obviously, for a startup. And so it's cool because they get to learn like how agile we are, and how when, certain information comes in, we make adjustments, and, involving them in that process and making us both as available to them as possible to answer any questions they might have, and encourage them to continue pursuing whatever it is, whatever facet of the industry, really interests them. So that's the other thing that we really pride ourselves on with our internship program, is really setting these students up for success after the fact, helping them with their resumes, helping them, learn a lot of, basic interview skills, as well as, helping direct them and connect them to anyone who we might know that's involved in a field that they're particularly interested in. And so, really focusing on adding as much value to them as we can.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well said. Yeah, very well said.
Extremely well said.
Yeah.
I like for so many reasons, I love that. It lines up extremely well with what I believe this industry needs to be doing. I love that you are actually doing this as a startup, and it, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, like for all intents and purposes, it is the two of you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we have an excellent team of advisors. We've got a great support community here in San Diego, but full time, it's the two of us, so that support's been great. And the reason we're able to be as, progress how we are, even though we're small companies, we have a lean mindset, the way we operate our business, we tap into all of the resources we have available to us, all throughout, the area we're in. And we like to create win-win-win opportunities at all level of the organization. So whether it's an intern, we're doing personal introductions to CEOs of major companies that they would love to have jobs in, their dream jobs. We're able to say, hey, we're connected to them on LinkedIn. Let's get you connected, and take what you've learned here and scale and go bigger, better, bolder on the next week. We want to know that we're a positive part of their journey, a positive part of their story. And the win for us is we get that energy, we get that new zest, we get new perspective, and they get to make results that actually impact our company. So we're seeing our social media grow. We're seeing our inbound traffic grow as a result of their actions. So we help create success stories that actually impact our business. So it's a very good win for us. And then the supplier, who's like the handshake of things, they in the schools, they get these success stories, they get these students that are motivated, and we get literally thousands of applicants a year to be a part of PromoDrone. And we started to create this kind of positive word of mouth about the internship experience here. And we really let our interns feel like they're really part of the team, with education and development being priority, even to our own benefit, right? We want them to be accomplished and really get a sense of growth out of this. That's ultimately, because we'll benefit throughout the process as we learn more and more about interns and how things work. And we're ultimately learning how eventually, when we have a full-time staff of, tons of different employees, how to best manage some of these things, because we've started to really put some of those things into play now. So it's pregame for where we're building the company next. So,
wow. I could not have teed up my next question better. You did it for me. I'm really glad we get to dive into the internships, because that is something near and dear to my heart with my nonprofit. I'm not even going to mention it here, but I definitely think that is a lot of lessons that I can learn from what you're doing. So I think that's fantastic. I want to see, where are you going? Like, you are setting up a spectacular foundation. As you start to build, what does this house look like?
Yeah, this looks like opportunities for other drone pilots. That's our ultimate goal, right? We've built something that we realize is attractive and that people seem to get very excited about. We love it. We get very excited about it. And it's easy for us to share that excitement, right? So for pilots, everything that you just mentioned in terms of what the needs of some pilots are. You're 107, but you're not really knowing about pre-flights. And, but really these pilots are our end users who will be licensing our platform, because we have this business in a box model where we're not just flying them. We want you to be flying them in your area, monetizing it, being the standout in your market. There's not a lot of competition in this arena, so you could be one of those drone pilots that are really commanding your slice of the market and really take that commanding lead. But we don't just leave you there to do it on your own. So when you sign up to become a licensee with us, we're giving you access to these SOPs that we've created. We're giving you tools on how to go to market, how to successfully sell this type of platform. Even though you're an independent operator, you don't have to do anything any of this stuff. We don't tell you when to fly, how to fly, or where to fly, because you're an independent operator. But we do give you tools as part of our ecosystem that will help you, right? If you need insurance options, we've got insurance relationships that you might be able to get tied up with. For our next gen, if you can't fully just pay outright for the next gen of the platform, you can finance it. So we have like financing options available, right? Pay it off. We have access to sales advisors. So not only will we give you a starter package, right? Here's some basic sales 101, how to be successful with PromoDrone. Here's some marketing collateral. Here's access to an ecosystem on how to get you going. But if you want more after that, here's marketing people, here's sales people that we have access to that can help you take your business to the next level. Not just as a drone pilot, because now you're flying this awesome technology that nobody else has, but now we can help you be successful at it if you're serious about becoming an entrepreneur with this platform. So ultimately, the future for us looks like empowering other drone pilots to be entrepreneurs in a different way with technology that's stimulating these senses, all these cool things we just talked about, taking that coolness we feel every day, how excited we are, and giving it to other drone pilots so they can experience the same thing.
This is incredible. Like I see this as a stepping stone. This is a stepping stone. This could be your end all be all, right? If you're a drone pilot and you're coming to this industry and you're scratching your head and you have no idea what you want to do because there's so many choices. This, in my opinion, is the either where you can end up and just be and live and play, or I see this as a fantastic stepping stone into some of the more advanced remote sensing based operations, potentially, if that's what your thing is, right? It's about finding your thing. But I see this there. I have seen very few programs that do anything even close to what you're trying to do, where you're setting up, you're giving your pilots every tool to succeed. You're setting them up with access to experts so that you can also succeed. So they can succeed. The experts can provide their expertise. They can help them provide their guidance. But then you're also providing them with a bit of a workforce, and you're providing them with a market. So is that how that works? Like, are you providing them with, like, here's a market? Is it kind of like a franchise model? Are you doing regions? Like, how does someone get set up to work with PromoDrone?
Yeah, it's independent. We don't have any regions or boundaries. So once you have it, you're a licensee. You can, have at it. Your fair shot. It's the capitalist side of things, right? It's here's your platform, here's your tool, and you can go and make it happen. You can have two drone pilots in the same neighborhood, and whoever's able to go get the business, or maybe they can find a way to collaborate. It doesn't have to be a competitive thing. This is so new, and there's so much when you're talking about who the beneficiaries are, right? The marketing firms, the advertising firms, perennial events, the colleges, the universities. You start thinking of how many opportunities to fly this thing there are, and one or two pilots in the neighborhood, they won't be really, one won't be starving if they, the other one's in the same neighborhood. So we really see a huge market opportunity, not only from job creation, but also access to jobs, flying these things at events, hospitality, you name it. So we're warming up the world for it. That's where we're at. The world's not quite there all the way yet. It's getting there. We're warming it up. We're doing some cool things. So Joree, I know you probably have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, so to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, the other thing that the other side of the business that we're working on developing is forming these partnerships, forming these relationships with the large scale event venues, with marketing companies, with the event coordinators who are in charge of these perennial events. So as we continue to build that network of marketing partners, we can then have a steady stream of jobs that we can then feed to our entire licensing network. So as Jamar kind of likes to say, we're creating the peanut butter and the jelly at the same time, and helping them find each other and putting them together. So that's, long term, the direction of this business is continuing to, build those partnerships on both sides of the equation to make sure that everyone's successful at the end.
Wow. Inspirational would be the minimum I can probably say about this. I highly respect the work that you are both doing from lots of different angles. I want to see this be wildly successful. Getting the word out is the least I could possibly do. Definitely have some ideas that we could possibly do to work together on this. This could be a lot of fun. But I would say, I just want to help you get the word out. This is what this industry needs. Like, just bottom line, what the industry needs. I see that as a huge opportunity for the outside world to engage with this industry in a positive, delightful type of way that overall is stimulating in the right ways. It's using a negative and turning it into a positive, and that takes some smart thinking. So bravo, little geniuses. I would say I'm just impressed. Like, you've taken all of these like the bad list, and you're like, no, flip it. That's the good list. You're like, wait a minute, how'd you do that? Wait, whoa, time out. What'd you just do? It's what you're doing, and bravo.
Thank you. And what's interesting is it wasn't initially this like conscious thing. I think it started from the foundation within us people first, right? The need to want to create something that benefited other people first, kind of deal. And I think this business model shift, and with COVID, the world changing, it gave us an opportunity to say, hey, it slowed the whole world down at the same time. And we got inquiries from around the world from people that in normal circumstances may not have had the bandwidth or mind share or even thought process to see where innovation can go, now that the world needing to rely on innovation very quickly to change how we go about doing things tomorrow, as far as vaccines to sanitizing areas to all types of stuff, communications, right? So when you have the mindset of how to create win-win-wins, where it's always this kind of balanced equation where what benefits us benefits you, benefits them, and this cycle happens, your product molds to that, your culture molds to that, your partnerships mold to that. The things that you want to see happen just become part of that natural equation. So what you're seeing that seemed to make so much sense, it's more of a manifestation of our internal desire to create something that really benefits the people that it touches. And that's kind of why it's aligning this way. And we're grateful that it is, ultimately.
And I'm grateful that you are doing this. I think this is fantastic. And I want to see this succeed for lots of reasons. And I'm just really happy to hear the story, share how you got into this, how it's benefiting others, how it's benefiting the industry, how it's going to benefit the world. I mean, I'm just grateful and humbled to be part of a small piece of this journey. So this is really great. What I want to do now is I just want to give each of you a little bit of time, say your end piece, whatever you want to share with the listeners. At the end of the day, there's people that are going to be interested in wanting to join you. There are people that may want to use you as a service. There's all types of people out there, and just people that are just curious about this industry that don't realize this is another fantastic use case of using drones. So I'll hand it over to you.
Joree, kick it off, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much. Thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it. Anyone wants to find out, more about what we're doing and get some updates on the company, you can visit us at www.promo-drone.co. And check out what we're doing over there. Lots of cool things in the pipeline, and definitely excited to have anyone along on the journey who's willing to take a listen.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment. Jason, thank you so much. We're here to support you as well. Whatever we can do to help your platform get, some more visibility and beef it up, we're all on board that ship. So thank you for having us on. If you're a Matrice owner, we'd love to talk to you. Our platform currently is built for Matrice 600 platform. So we're really looking for these owners to take advantage of putting some more miles on their drone. Matrice just announced the discontinuation of supporting it. Our resellers and suppliers can still support you with parts and things like that for a while to come. So what better way to add some innovation to your technology you've already invested in? And it's going to be around for a little bit longer. So here's a way to do it. So if you're a pilot, you're looking for a way to become your own boss in another way, we'd love to talk to you. If you're an event organizer or any kind of marketing company and you're looking for a new way to drive sponsor activity, engagement, give us a holler. We'd love to talk to you, answer your questions. And follow us on Instagram, promo.drone on Instagram. Joree already dropped the website, promo-drone.co online. And thank you so much. We're just very grateful to have something that we think people think is pretty cool. So it's just pretty humbling all in itself. So
that's fantastic. And I'll tell you what, thank you so much for being on the show. And for all of you, I'm going to have all this information down in the description. All of it's going to be right there with you. So I'm going to share this wide, casting it as far as I can. And I'm sure these gentlemen will help us that as well. And we're going to get this out there as wide as we can just to share this message. These are the innovators in this industry, the way they think differently, they think big, they think just this is the way the industry's going. And I'm just happy that you're here. Catch you next time. And Jason is out.